Well, we developed our own proprietary algorithm to map the contours of your iris and the pattern of it and translate it into a unique digital signature.
There's got to be a better way than this. A jumble of numbers and letters we memorize and then forget. But we're told over and over that if we want security, we have to sacrifice convenience. Not anymore. Introducing Myris by iLock, the iris identity authenticator that lets you access your entire digital world. No more usernames, no more passwords. Myris converts your individual iris characteristics to an encrypted code that is unique only to you.
A revolutionary new handheld iris scanner that uses a smartphone may change the way facial recognition is carried out. The Stratus could be used by police to identify suspects. The user holds the device within a foot of the subject, and an image is taken that is compared with a built-in database. The device uses an iPhone 4 or higher. It works by taking photographs of the iris with the help of a bright infrared light and analyzing its patterns. The scanner also comes complete with a fingerprint scanner. The Stratus, which is being scouted by government and security agencies around the country, is said to be able to provide military-grade biometric scanning.
In 2018, machines that can read your face will go mainstream, changing the way we live. Your face will become your password, unlocking smartphones and bank accounts.
Face recognition in 2018 will change our lives.
But the technology will also have the power to covertly track your movements.
Moving into a world where machines can follow you around and characterize you based only on your face is worrying because it potentially limits your freedom.
From the store, to the bank, to the home.
Okay Google, what noise does a panda make?
To the airport, biometrics authentication all around us. You are the password.
You look at it and it recognizes you.
By next year there'll be millions of those devices out in the world, and we're going to get used to unlocking our phone. Then we're going to start getting used to getting into our banking apps with face recognition, and it's going to start feeling normal.
But using your face to unlock your phone is just the beginning.
Facial recognition is going to go mainstream in 2018, largely because the latest iPhone has face recognition technology built into it.
You look at it and it recognizes you.
You are the password. We are talking your fingerprints, your eyes, your voice, those now being used to identify us in all manner of ways.
We've invented a simple way of transforming a photo into text.
They're teaching machines to read faces.
The face recognition model can measure the distance between your eyes, the width of your lips, the distance from your lips to your nose, etc. At the end of that process, we are left with a simple text, which is the basis of our recognition.
The software has the power to identify one face from millions in under 1 second.
Our accuracy under a controlled environment is around 99%.
And it's this precision that makes the technology an effective new tool for surveillance.
We can identify people without them knowing that they are being identified. We have clients ranging from medical centers, retail chain stores, churches.
Retail stores are using this technology to generate data on customers, tracking their shopping habits and targeting in-store adverts. Churches are even using facial recognition to monitor attendance. And one school in the UK wants to use it to keep tabs on teachers.
We have one school where teachers took 2 long breaks. Therefore, the management decided to put them on the watch list.
But there's one country that's ahead of the game.
China is a harbinger of the future for this kind of technology.
Companies have access to a government image database of 700 million people, half its population.
China is already using this widely in security, looking for terrorists or people who have warrants out for their arrest. But they're also using it to let people pay in fast food restaurants, to access theme parks without having to buy a ticket, and even, bizarrely, to try and catch people who steal loo paper from public toilets.
But there's the potential for more sinister applications. Researchers have shown that your face can point to your sexuality.
It's not going to mean you can take a photo of someone and get a yes or no, gay or straight, but what it does mean is that if a bad actor or an authoritarian regime gathers, say, 10,000 pictures and asks which are the 10 people who are most likely to be gay, they're quite likely to get many of those right.
This new ability to record, store and analyze images of faces on a vast scale will fundamentally change notions of privacy, fairness and trust.
In 2018, the most contact that people will have with face recognition, they won't actually know necessarily. It'll be through security services, it'll be through shops that are profiling you, and that's the more worrying side of it.
But tech companies are forging ahead with their plans to make facial recognition an everyday part of our lives.
You cannot stop progress on the fear of privacy. The advantages of security of business information are far greater than some privacy issues.
This technology is a new kind of power, and the only way we have of dealing with technologies currently is to make regulations that repress bad uses and allow for the perceived good uses. 2018 will be a year where we start to work out what some of those are.
Your face tells a lot about you these days. It's just like your fingerprint, especially in the digital world. And Facebook now has the largest digital database for facial recognition in the world. I'm talking bigger than the FBI. 300 million photos are uploaded to the site every day. Just think, every time you post a picture to the social media site, it usually knows who's in the picture with you before you can even tag them. So what does that mean for your personal security? Well, we talked to a former CIA agent who says it could compromise your personal information.
The problem is that when one organization owns all the information, they own your face and they own where you live, they own who your friends are, they have banking data, they have shopping data, they have behavioral characteristics and trends from you. Now, if someone hacks into that one organization, they get access to everything that organization has.
So the best thing for you to do, just cut the facial recognition off, and it's super easy to do. Let me show you. Go up to that drop-down menu on your Facebook page. You'll see settings right here. Go to settings, it'll populate. Go over to timeline and tagging. You see here at the bottom where it says who sees tag suggestions when photos that look like you are uploaded. Just go to edit, See this drop down right here? Take it off of Friends and click No One.
It turns out, typical fingerprint readers use the same principle of capacitance as trackpads and touchscreens. So, if you checked out our other episode on touchscreens, you'll know that they typically function by detecting the difference in charge between the lower layer of your skin, which is conductive, and the phone screen itself. Fingerprint readers adapt this concept for personal identification by cramming lots of tiny conductive plates into the space just below the scanner surface. They're narrower than the ridges that make up your fingerprints. When you place your fingertip against the reader, the sensors can tell which portions of your finger, the ridges, are touching the sensor and which are not, because the small valleys are further away from the sensor, which decreases the capacitance the tiny plates will pick up. But while many people originally thought of fingerprint sensors as a highly secure technology, perhaps because of their association with spy films, they certainly aren't foolproof, no matter exactly which variety you're using. Think of how the scanner on your phone will work even though you don't place your finger on it in exactly the same position every time. This is because they only require a good enough partial match to decide that it's your finger. Now this allows it to recognize you from many different angles, but it also means there's a small chance of a false positive. And even though master fingerprints are typically secured in some way, like how Apple encrypts the Touch ID fingerprint and stores it locally, it's still possible to defeat fingerprint readers using artificial molds that can be created if, say, some miscreant gets a hold of fingerprints that you left on a wine glass. So while the technology is super convenient, there are holes that have led most smartphone operating systems to also require a password or PIN, which is especially important if you're one of the few dozen or so people in the world that were born without fingerprints.
You've seen eye scanners in movies like Charlie's Angels, but even in real life, in order for eye scanners to work, they have to get up close and personal. New technology is beginning to mimic another movie, Minority Report, where long-range devices are able to scan entire crowds from a distance, which has critics worried. Every person's iris, that colored circle around the pupil of the eye, is different. That's why police have started using them to build ID databases, like the FBI has done with fingerprints. Carnegie Mellon University's College of Engineering is testing a new system that it says can accurately read each iris's unique signature from as far away as 12 meters.